Hello everyone and welcome to my Mega Blu-ray Collection Part 1. We're going to go through some of my standard Blu-rays to start. I do have quite a few box sets and some other curiosities that you may be interested in later, but this is going to be Part 1. I'm not sure how many I'm going to do yet. I've watched a lot of these videos and I've seen that a lot of people collect a lot of just kind of standard movies. I like to collect the movies I really like. So for the most part, most of the movies that you're going to see here are movies that I do appreciate and respect the cinematography and everything in them. Anything below a 6 is usually something I won't collect. So it just happens to be out of a box set maybe, then it's probably going to have a lower score. Another thing I'm going to do, which other people don't do, is I'm going to give a quick score on each movie out of 10 is what I think, what the movie will be rated as. So let's just quickly get started here with 8 Mile. This one is, of course, an Eminem movie. I thought it was okay in a couple of spots. I love the freestyle rapping in it. It's awesome. It's a pretty good movie for the most part. It's not much more than about a 6, though, to be honest. I thought it could have been a lot better, but a little bit disappointed with 8 Mile. But still not a bad one, I guess. If you like Eminem, you'll probably dig at least a couple of the spots in this movie. The next one is 12 Years a Slave. Really, really well done movie. It did win Best Picture, Academy Award for Best Picture. Really good one. It has one of my favorite actors, Paul Giamatti. It's a really, really good depiction of how the slaves were treated back in the day. It is a great movie. Like I said, I do have the slipcover for it here. I would give this movie probably about a 7.5 out of 10, I would imagine, or maybe even an 8. It was pretty good. Definitely one that you should check out if you have a chance. 21, this is a Kevin Spacey movie, Lawrence Fishburne as well. This one was okay. It wasn't great. It had its moments that were good. Some moments weren't that good, but I'd say this movie was about a 6.5 as well. Moving on to the next movie, we have actually a double set. It's 28 Days Later with 28 Weeks Later. Pretty good zombie flicks here, guys. They're the types of movies where you get into them and they are a little bit more hardcore, a little bit more realistic than your standard, Zombie Land or whatever. It's actually done pretty well. I kind of liked 28 Weeks Later just a little bit more, but I'll probably give them the same score of 7 on these two movies. Just really well done for zombie flicks. This one might be a little rare. I don't see this double pack often, but that's that one there. We can move on to the next one, which is 42. This is the Jackie Robinson story. It's got Harrison Ford in it, and it was done really well. I did like this movie. Harrison Ford did a great job in this one of acting. Very, very well done. This one I'd probably give a 7 to. Next movie we have is 300. This one's always been a favorite of mine. This is a Zack Snyder movie. The first one is really, really good. I would give this probably an 8.5 out of 10. I really appreciated, enjoyed the movie. It was very stylistic, action, violence, not realistic at all, but definitely a fun watch. The second one is The Rise of the Empire. I do have the slipcover for that one. Yeah, not nearly as good as the first one. I'd probably give this one about a 6.5 out of 10. I did like it, but I didn't love it. Just not one of my ideal watches lately. This next one, however, is fantastic. This is A Bronx Tale. This one's a little bit rare. As you can see, it's an imported one. They don't make this in the States, I don't believe, on Blu-ray. So I had to order this one specially on Blu-ray to have it. This was a really, really great movie. I give this a solid 9 out of 10, maybe even a 9.5. It was that good, guys. You definitely should check this out if you're into gangster movies. It's kind of like a coming-of-age gangster movie. Robert De Niro, Chaz Palminteri, just really well done, guys. You'll dig that one. A Few Good Men is the next one. This is a classic, of course, with Cruise, Nicholson, and Demi Moore. It is a Rob Reiner film. It's done really well. I really like the acting, especially Jack Nicholson. He really nailed it in this one. Cruise did a pretty good job as well. I would give this one about a 7.5 out of 10. This one right here, by the way, these ratings I give these movies are just kind of like, my personal opinion. It doesn't mean that they're set in stone. I know other people have other viewpoints. When I give a movie an 8 or above, it's usually excellent. That's one of the really, really good ones. So getting to this next one, it's a double feature, A Beautiful Mind and Cinderella Man, both by Ron Howard, both films by Ron Howard. A Beautiful Mind was a little bit better. I think I would give that one about a 7.5. I would give this one about a 7 on Cinderella Man. They're both good movies. Definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen either one of those yet. And I think that you'd be pleasantly surprised if you haven't. So good stuff with Russell Crowe there. Anaconda, this is kind of one of those ones where I just picked it up because it reminded me of the cheesy CGI I remember in that one scene with the snake. It's not great, guys. It's like a 6, maybe out of 10. It's not that great. But if you ever get a chance on picking it up, it's a little harder to find lately. So give it a watch if you ever want to watch the CGI creature feature. All right, next is A Time to Kill. This one's fantastic, guys. Samuel L. Jackson and Sandra Bullock are amazing in this one. Even McConaughey does a great job. But yeah, this is a fantastic movie. I give this probably an 8 out of 10. I really, really liked it. Really well done, well acted, very emotional, high drama. Next one is Across the Universe. Now this one is kind of like a movie that pays tribute to the Beatles, which is cool. I like the Beatles a lot. They're one of my favorite bands, and I love hearing their music. Even if it's covers of their music, it's pretty cool. This is kind of like a large music video movie of, you know, their depiction of Beatles songs and what they should be like in a video. So that's what this is like. The movie itself is really not that good. There are moments of greatness in this, but there are moments of just pure, you know, boring, drab, just useless moments, I think. But I would give this one probably a 6 out of 10. Next movie is Alita: Battle Angel, and I saw this one with my nephews in the theater when it came out. It was a lot of fun, guys. Really good movie. A lot of high action. Special effects are on point. It's just really well done. James Cameron, of course, is the director here. I loved it. It was really cool. I'd probably give this a solid 8. It is definitely a solid 8 for this one. Next movie. Now, this is one of the exceptions, my friends. This looks like the Digibook edition that I have. It's a director's cut, so it's not the PG rated one. It is the R-rated version of this movie. The R-rated version, basically the only difference between the PG and the R is that there's some scenes of nudity. That's really the only thing that kind of drives this to the R rating, I think. But I'm going to open it up for you and show you a little bit. It's a really cool book. It has a lot of interesting, cool shots from the movie inside. If you look inside, it's really awesome, guys. I think you'll dig this book if you happen to pick this up. One of the best movies I've ever seen, too, by the way. I think anybody can watch this, almost anybody except for maybe a small child, and appreciate this movie like I did, especially if you're a musician or if you appreciate music whatsoever. This movie has just been leaps and bounds over any other. This is a 10 out of 10, guys. Fantastic movie. American Beauty, another fantastic movie. Right away, I'm just going to say this has got to be a solid 9, maybe even a 9.5 out of 10. It's in between. It's probably a 9 out of 10. It's got, you know, winner of 5 Academy Awards. Kevin Spacey's in this, Annette Bening. It's just so good, guys. So much fun. It's funny. It's like a kind of a dark comedy drama is what you're getting here, but it's very well done, and I think everybody that does not get offended easily should watch this. American History X. This is one that you are definitely going to be offended by as well. This is a good racism movie. It's really good. Edward Norton had some issues with the director when he was making this movie, but he really came across and did a great job on his part. This movie is pretty hardcore, so if you have a squeamish stomach or if you just don't like racism at all, then don't watch this. But this definitely has some really good lessons to be learned, I think, from the whole racism thing. And I don't know. I think that it's a movie that stands out amongst other ones because it really just had a good emotional feel to it, good power, rawness that you really need with a film like that. Next film is Apollo 13. I have the slipcover for this one. This one's in like brand new shape, actually. But this is a Tom Hanks movie, of course. Kevin Bacon's in this. Lots of people are in this. Bill Paxton. Great movie, guys. It's a lot of fun to watch this one. It's a little bit slow, but it's based on a true story, so based on real events. So it was done excellent. I think I'd give this one a 7. It was definitely enjoyable. The Adjustment Bureau. This is a very interesting movie. They just took they tried to make a drama into an action with this one, and then add a twist to it, which worked. It was really good. Matt Damon did a great job. He had great chemistry with Emily Blunt. It was just really fun to watch this one, guys, and it was like a movie I've never seen before. So that's what I appreciate about watching this. With this movie, I would give that a 7.5 out of 10. Next movie is A Quiet Place. A Quiet Place is, like a silent horror movie. However, it's not black and white. It is in color. Newer movie, of course. Emily Blunt is also in this one. This one was okay. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of this one. I'm really not a big fan of horror movies, but this one was done fairly well. I give it a 6 out of 10. There's not going to be a lot of dialogue. Just remember that. If you pick this up, you're going to be watching a lot of silence, but there's a reason for it, and you'll see. It's pretty good. Next movie, August Rush. This one is really fun too. It's a good family movie. It actually has Robin Williams in it as well. He plays a pretty good part in it, kind of a dick part, but he's still in it, and he plays a good part. So really fun, guys. Musical movie. Like I said, family oriented. There's only one scene that's just a little bit, a little bit. What's the word for it? Not family, but it's not graphic whatsoever. So it's definitely worth a see if you are a fan of music, or if you just have a family and they like to watch musical type movies. Next movie is kind of a rare one. This is Aspen Extreme. You don't see this on Blu-ray very often. I found this at a pawn shop. I was lucky enough to find it for like $5 at a pawn shop, and it goes for a lot more than that online. I think it's out of print, but this is a pretty good action drama ski movie. It was really done pretty well. I appreciated it quite a bit. I have to watch it a few times to actually get into it more, but I really got into it and really liked what I saw over time. I would say it's probably about a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10. Our next movie is going to be Arachnophobia. This one is classic, guys. I mean, obviously, I think everyone's seen this one. So a little bit rare to find as well on Blu-ray. You don't see this one often. But really, really fun movie. It has some jump scares. It has a lot of humor, a lot of drama, a little bit of everything for everyone. So it's a great movie. I give this a 7.5 out of 10. Next, we have a triple set, which I really only bought for Assassins. I did see The Specialist 2 before, and it was okay, but Assassins I probably would give the 6.5 out of 10 for. Not amazing, but still a good movie. I didn't like this one at all. I'd say this one was like a 4 or 5. I just did not like it. And then the Specialist here was probably about a 5, maybe a 5.5 out of 10. Wasn't a great movie either, but Assassins was pretty good. And if you happen to find a triple set like this with a fairly decent movie for cheap, which I did, it's worth a pickup. Awakenings. Now, this one was fantastic. Really done well, based on a true story, of course. Amazing acting. Really cool story about a doctor trying to help a patient with Parkinson's disease. But really good movie, guys. Amazing. I recommend this for just about anybody to watch, especially if you're in the medical field. You'd appreciate this movie a bit. I give this one an 8.5 out of 10. Next one is Baby Driver. I do have the 4K version of this with the slipcover. Really fun movie, guys. This one is going to be an 8 out of 10 for me. I really appreciated and liked the action and the musical quality, and the acting was all cool. And I mean, it was just so good. It's one of those movies that you just say, wow, that was a cool movie after you see it. And it's worth getting on 4K if you happen to find it on 4K. I'm not a huge advocate of 4K yet, but maybe I will be in the future, and maybe I'll start switching over to this format. Next one is Nicolas Cage's Bangkok Dangerous. Kind of another one you don't see Nicolas Cage in a lot. Actually, guys, it's a decent movie. It's not bad. I probably would give this about a 6.5 or 7 out of 10. I'll just settle on 7. I did like it. It was fun. Worth a watch, guys. Again, it's rated R, so be careful if you have a family. You won't want to watch it with them. Even though Cage is in it, he's National Treasure guy, but not in this one. This one's Bangkok Dangerous, so you gotta pay attention. All right, guys. Next we have The Batteries Not Included. This is a Spielberg film. I love this movie, guys. It was done so well. This is one from the 80s that I'll always remember as a child growing up. I would give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. It just has nostalgia. It has great acting. It has a cool little family-oriented story, and I think your kids would love this movie if you happen to pop that in someday. Next is The Basketball Diaries, which is completely the opposite. It is not family-friendly. This one is a DiCaprio film, one of his best performances I've seen in a long time. But this is an older movie, of course. Kind of a rare one to find on Blu-ray as well. I don't see this often, but definitely one that if you get offended easily by language, sexual situations, anything that drugs, stuff like that, you're not going to be able to watch this. But I think if you just let that stuff go, appreciate the drama, appreciate the acting, I think you really will like this one. I apologize. The last movie, The Basketball Diaries, I would give a 7.5 on the score too. I didn't mention that before. I apologize. Let's move on to our next set of movies right here. We got Beetlejuice, Charlie the Chocolate Factory, and The Corpse Bride. Now, I only bought this for Beetlejuice because it's one of my favorite films with Michael Keaton. I would give Beetlejuice a 8 out of 10. I really liked it. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, quite a bit lower, and Corpse Bride quite a bit lower. Would probably come in at about a 5 on each of those movies. I didn't really like those as much. I mean, I like the first Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory better than that one. And Tim Burton movies are usually pretty good, but this one was just a little bit too much. I had to kind of really have some patience with that one. Let's move on to our next movie, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. Now, this is a movie you don't see often. It is rare. It's not one that a lot of people have watched or viewed. I think that everyone should see this if you like horror movies or drama or comedy even, because it does a little bit of each. And it has a really cool concept and spin that you've never seen before in horror. And I really think this movie was a monument to the horror genre. Definitely one you should pick up. It is, like I said, a little rare. You might be able to find it online for around $10 to $20, but it's definitely worth a watch. I recommend that highly. I also give this a 8.5 out of 10. Next is Beyond the Lights. This is a musical movie starring a girl right here that you see on front that becomes famous and falls in love with this security guard guy, and it's okay. It's not an amazing movie, but it's definitely watchable, and it's cool. I got it for a dollar, so I can't complain. For a dollar, it's definitely worth that type of money to see this one. I would give this about a 6 out of a 10. The Book of Eli. I do have the slipcover for that right here. I thought this would be better than it was. I did like it, but I thought it'd be better. I would say this is probably about a 6.5 out of 10. But it was really, fun to watch still, and it had that Mad Max wasteland feel that I do like. So, I mean, 6.5, I think that's a fair grade for it. Next is Borat. This is a great comedy, guys. Again, this is a imported movie, as you can see down here. It's an all regions movie, so it works great. I don't believe they released this on Blu-ray in the States either, so that's why I had to order it specially so I could own it on Blu-ray. But Borat's always been, really, really fun, funny, offensive type of movie. I think that this gets a 7 out of 10. It was maybe 7.5 out of 10. Let's just settle on that. It was definitely worth a see, but definitely better than the Bruno movie that followed. Braveheart is next. One of the best movies I've seen, in all times. It's so good, so well done with Mel Gibson. Has Academy Awards behind it. I mean, you can't go wrong with Braveheart. It's just a great war/love movie, and really makes you feel. It's if you're young and you have those emotions where you've fallen in love with someone still, I think you would really appreciate this movie. Plus, the war scenes are really cool. They're a bit bloody and they're a bit brutal at times, but it's a great movie, guys. I give this an 8.5 out of 10. Bridge of Spies next. Steven Spielberg film. I love Steven Spielberg's films. They're so good. Some of them are bummers, but this one's okay. This one's a lot of drama, a lot of dialogue, but well done. Definitely one you got to stick with. Like I said, it's a little slow, but if you stick with it, you'll appreciate it for what it is. Tom Hanks stars, and it's so good. He did a great job in this movie, guys. I can't say enough how I do like Hanks in most movies I see him in. This was no exception. Bridge of Spies, it's a keeper. Oh, by the way, that one would be a 7 out of 10. This one is Blade Runner. This is the 5-disc collection with Harrison Ford. It's got the really cool cover, as you can see, and it's a little thicker than the other Blu-rays. But this one, I guess I'm happy to own it because it's a piece of history for science fiction, and it really is, monumental to that genre as well. I think that I wasn't really impressed with this movie, to be honest. I give it maybe a 5.5 out of 10. I just didn't enjoy it too much, but I do like, the artwork is awesome. There's some really good concepts in here. Good science fiction, if you like. Don't mind a lot of drama and dialogue in between. Next movie is The Blind Side with Sandra Bullock. This one's fantastic, based on a true story. Was done really well. I can't say enough good things about it. It's just a really great movie. I'd probably give it a 7.5 out of 10. I'm not a huge fan, but I'm a fan enough to put it up there as a very, very good movie. Bohemian Rhapsody is next. I have the slipcover on this one. Of course, the story of Queen. Freddie Mercury was portrayed by, I think his name was Malik in this one. I believe that's his last name. Rami Malek, that's the one. So he's a little short for Freddie Mercury. That's the only problem I had with it, but otherwise he played the role really nicely, and the rest of the band looked a lot like the band, the original Queen band. So the movie was done pretty well. I do give it a 7.5 out of 10. I think it was definitely a good watch. If you like Queen whatsoever, you should definitely check it out. Boiler Room is next, and this one was really, really done well. I loved it. Vin Diesel, of course, is in that, and then Giovanni Ribisi. So great one. It's one of those ones that you will watch, and it's. I had a job like this in Vegas once, where I had to get on the phone and try to sell something, and I hated the job. I quit within a few weeks. But this movie reminds me of those times I had in Vegas, and just really hit home a little bit. So I really liked this movie, guys. It's definitely an 8 out of 10. Now these next ones, I have The Bourne Supremacy and The Bourne Ultimatum, which actually go in this order. Missing The Bourne Identity, it's on its way in the mail, but it's just not here yet, so I decided I would just skip showing you what it looks like and just talk about these two movies. These are kind of like the modern day James Bond type of style movies to me. I liked the ones with Matt Damon a lot. I would give these movies about a 6.5 each out of 10. I think they were both pretty well done. Bourne Identity is the first one. I think I'd give that one a 7 out of 10 because I liked that one a little bit more. Next, we'll talk about Blade. And this is one of those, really violent, bloody, fun times, good times, comic book style, but, over-the-top type of movies, vampire hunting type of thing. Still fun. I liked it. This is probably my favorite of the series so far. I don't think they're going to make any more, but I'd probably give this one about a 6.5. The rest of them I would probably give about a 6.5 as well, too, including Blade 2, which is right here, and then Blade Trinity right here. So there's the back of Blade 2. Yeah, all these are 6.5s for sure. This one actually I enjoyed the most. It has, Deadpool in it. That's pretty cool. And Jessica Biel's in it as well. So this one was probably the funnest one to watch, but it's still not much better than about a 6.5. Not amazing movies, guys, but definitely if you like, gory violence and vampire stuff, you'll dig it. Next is a P.T. Anderson film called Boogie Nights. I love this movie. It was done excellently. If you're not offended by, talking about the porn industry just back in the 70s and 80s, that's what this is all about. So brace yourself if you decide to watch this. It's not for the faint of heart. It's R for a reason. There's a lot of stuff in that would offend a ton of people, but it was really well done, really well acted, and an all-star cast. You got Burt Reynolds, you got Julianne Moore, you got John C. Reilly, Mark Wahlberg, flipping Heather Graham, tons of big names in this, guys. So get this one if you're not offended easily, and I promise you'll enjoy it. It's a bit cheesy, a bit campy at times, but it's definitely worth watching. I got this one for $1 also. This is Burying the X, and this was a really fun movie. For $1, I couldn't complain at all. I give it a 6.5 out of 10. By the way, Boogie Nights is probably, I would say 8.5 out of 10. I loved it. It was great. This one, though, is done really well. Like I said, it's a lot of fun. Just one of those movies that's just silly, but really well done for the most part. It is an RLJ film. Probably kind of rare to find it, except unless you're going to find it at a dollar store or whatever. But yeah, it was great. I can't recommend it more. If you like comedy and zombie type stuff, you'll dig this one for sure. Again, I think it's a 6.5 out of 10, I would say. Butterfly Effect is our next one with Ashton Kutcher. This one was pretty good. 6.5 out of 10 is probably what I would give this. It's about the same as the other one. I did enjoy it. It was good. They made sequels, which you should never watch. This is the only one you should ever watch because the sequels are horrible. But this is the one that if you're going to watch this movie, then this series of movies, watch the first one. Skip the rest of them. Next is Brewster's Millions, and I just ordered this. I haven't even opened it yet, but I have seen it, and I love this movie. This one's a little bit hard to find out in the wild, too, but I did order it online. I think it was like 10 or 12 bucks online. Not too bad. So I picked it up, and I can't wait to watch it again. I remember this, and I probably saw it about 4 or 5 years ago. I give this a good 7.5 out of 10. I think it was a fantastically well-done movie. Richard Pryor's fantastic. He's always funny. John Candy did a great job. So yeah, definitely worth a watch, guys. Next, we'll go with some horror movies that I picked up. A triple set of The Possession, based on the true story, Cabin in the Woods, and Sinister. I actually got it for Cabin in the Woods. I've seen that, and I liked it. I thought it was a very interesting take on horror, again. It's not a great movie. It's probably a 6 out of 10. The Possession, kind of slow, not my thing really, probably about a 5.5 out of 10. And Sinister, I wasn't into much either. I mean, it had some good parts, but maybe a 5.5 out of 10. It just wasn't that great. So the 6 is probably the best one, which is what I bought it for, and I'm not complaining. But that is the 3 movies in this set. Of course, I got this for like $5, so you can't complain. $5 for 3 movies. Pretty good deal. All right, Captain Phillips. I just watched this a couple times with my father, and for the first time myself, too. It's based on a true story. about the pirates that took over that ship, and I can't remember where it was, but yeah. Anyway, it was based on the true story that happened, and it was awesome. It was really done well. Acting was great. Good dramatic thematic parts of the movie were done excellently. I would give this a 7.5 out of 10. Next is another horror movie. This one's called Case 39. Has a twist that I really like in it. Thought it was done really well. It's rated R. However, it's only got, I think, one F word in it and a couple intense scenes for younger kids. So that's what made it R. It wasn't really that bad. It's kind of one of the milder Rs I've seen. But I thought it was PG-13 for a while until I looked at the rating. So anyway, it's a great movie, guys. It's definitely worth a see. If you like drama and if you like horror whatsoever, you'll dig this one. Like I said, it does have a cool twist in it. I give this one a 7 out of 10. This one is Casino. This is a classic gangster movie by Martin Scorsese. And of course, it's got an all-star cast with Pesci, De Niro, and Sharon Stone. Also, there's lots of other people in this that you'll recognize. It's so good, guys. If you like gangster movies at all, Casino is a must-watch. I give this an 8.5 out of 10. Next is Casper. This is a good family movie with Christina Ricci and Bill Pullman. I just picked this up recently. It is probably the best of any Casper movie or cartoon I've ever seen. I did enjoy this one a lot. Special effects are, they're kind of dated, not too bad, but they don't look too bad. But this one's fun. I would give this a 6.5 out of 10. Catch Me If You Can, another Spielberg flick that is done superbly. Hanks and DiCaprio play in this one, based on true events, of course. And this one is kind of one that flies under the radar a bit, but this is one of my favorite Spielberg films. Definitely one of my favorite, in my top 5 favorite Spielberg films. And it was done just miraculously, beautifully. Everything about this movie was just perfect. It was smart. It was funny. There was drama. I mean, DiCaprio plays his role to the T in this one, and it's very, very entertaining. I would give this one an 8.5 out of 10. Next movie, really fun time with Chef we had. This is, of course, Jon Favreau, the guy who made The Mandalorian, or that had a huge part in it, I should say. This is his own movie. He directed and wrote this movie, I believe. And this one is fantastic. It's a feel-good movie. You'd think that it wouldn't be rated R, but it is for a lot of F words. It drops the F-bomb at least 30-something times in it. But other than that, there's really nothing else that makes it R. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Really well done, really well acted. I loved Dustin Hoffman was in it. There was just a lot of people. Scarlett Johansson's in it. What's her name? Sofia Vergara is in it as well, right here. She's amazing. This little kid did a great job acting. Just an all-around, really feel-good, amazing movie. I give this an 8.5 out of 10. Next is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and I do have the red Blu-ray case, which is kind of rare. It's pretty cool when you come by the red cases on these. This is a classic, guys. Timeless Christmas classic comedy. You got to have this in your collection. It's just so funny and so good. I love Chevy Chase, and most of the National Lampoon's movies are pretty good, but this is really one of the better ones of all of them. So if you see one, see this one. I would give this a 7 out of 10. Okay, down to my last stack, and I'm sweating bullets, guys, so let's get through it. Here is Chronicle right here. Really cool cover on that one. As you can see, it is a slip cover I have. This is a movie that was very unique in its own right, and the picture on front wouldn't tell you much about it, but it's so good, guys. You definitely need to see this. There's an unrated and a PG-13 rated version of this, and they're both on here, but I think that the unrated version is a little better. I always tend to gravitate toward those more. This is a really good movie. I'm not going to tell you anything about it if you haven't seen it. I would say it's a 7 out of 10. It was a lot of fun, guys. Next is City of God. This is, of course, a very controversial film. It's subtitled in English, but I believe they're speaking Portuguese. This takes place in Rio de Janeiro, and it was based on true events as well, I believe. Really well done. One of those movies I've seen that I don't mind reading the subtitles on, just because it's so intriguing and involving. Very violent and very offensive movies, guys, so be careful if, don't watch this if you get offended easily. It's definitely one of those ones that stands out as graphic for sure, but definitely worth a see. I would give this a 7 out of 10. Next, we're going to talk about City Slickers. This is the first one. I don't have the second one because they never released it on Blu-ray, but I do like the first one too. They're both great. I think I like the second one just a little bit better. But this one was classic. It's Billy Crystal, Jack Palance. He's passed away now, so it's nice to see him in a film. And it was really funny, guys. It was a good movie. If you like, slapstick, not slapstick, but comedy westerns, then you'll like this one a lot. It does have some dramatic elements and thematic events as well. So this one was great. It's definitely worth a watch. I give this a 7 out of 10. Next is the classic Clash of the Titans. And, throw away all the new ones. They suck. This one's the best one. This one's the one you got to see because it's really done fantastically. It has stop motion. It has a lot of claymation type stuff in it, which, it definitely dates it, but still, the story, the way this was executed was near flawless. I loved this movie. Such a great movie, guys. It's rated PG. It has just a couple little scenes of nudity, I think, and some violence, and that's about it. But it's definitely a family movie for the most part, and I would recommend this to anyone. I give this movie a 8 out of 10. Click with Adam Sandler. One of those movies that kind of starts off silly, like most of his movies do. However, does kind of pull it back away and a ways at the end, and reins in some drama. So you got a little comedy, you got a little drama here. Nothing spectacular, guys. Christopher Walken is pretty funny in it. It's okay. It's not great, but it's definitely worth a see if you haven't seen it yet. If you can get it for cheap, I give this one a 6 out of 10. Next is an out of print cover. This is Cliffhanger with Stallone, of course. A classic, action movie with Stallone, and one of his better ones. I really did like this one. Definitely worth seeing. I do recommend this for most people as well, unless you're offended by F words, because that's pretty much what plagued this movie. But it's a great movie otherwise, and I give it a 7 out of 10. Next is a triple threat. This is 2001: A Space Odyssey, and A Clockwork Orange, and The Shining. Not a huge fan of a 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's kind of slow and boring. I'd probably give it a 5 out of 10. However, Clockwork Orange and Shining are both probably 6.5s out of 10. I guess these are about the same. Maybe I like The Shining a little bit more. I just did see Dr. Sleep, the sequel to this one, and that one was out there. I don't know what they were doing with that, but The Shining was definitely a timeless classic horror movie, and it was really acted well with Nicholson. He did his part amazing. Clockwork Orange is just one of those strange ones that you get into, and you'll be like, wow, this is a monument in movie making. And it was, but it was offensive, and it was a little crazy for its time. So beware if you happen to watch that. And look at the difference in ratings. Isn't that crazy? GRR. That's funny. Good job, Stanley. I like the way you work there, buddy. So let's talk about the next one. Oh, by the way, these, I rated these already. I'm sorry. We'll move on. Con Air is next. It's a great little Cage film. Has a great action sequences in it. Has John Malkovich. He's awesome. John Cusack's in this one. Kind of a silly action movie is what I call this one. But it's a lot of fun. It's definitely worth a watch. Yeah, there's a scene in the end where they fly through Vegas and the landmarks are not correct as they're flying. I don't know who screwed that up, but they messed up a bit there. Anyway, so as the direction they're flying, they should have been going and hitting different landmarks than what they did. Just kind of a funny little point about this movie. But I would give this, a Jerry Bruckheimer movie, a 7 out of 10. Up next, we have Contact. And this was a really good drama science fiction movie. If you appreciate UFO type of things, you'll really like this movie. It's like I said, dramatic though. It has a lot of dialogue, a lot of smart dialogue though, and it was done very well. Just amazing acting on McConaughey's and her part. What's her name? Jodie Foster. That's her. So good movie, guys. I give this one a 7.5 out of 10. Next is The Count of Monte Cristo. I just picked this up recently. Still wrapped. I've seen it though, and I love this movie. Really cool, timeless movie, which is really well done. I can't say anything bad about this at all. A little bit slow in some parts, but definitely worth sticking with, and one of the better films I've seen in quite a while. It's about a 7 out of 10, guys, on that one. The Crow. Now, of course, everybody knows the story behind this one, and Brandon Lee getting shot in this movie, and then not making it. So it's too bad that we had to have that happen with this one. However, this movie was very dark and very well done for an action movie. I really liked it. It was awesome. It was definitely worth seeing. Sad that he had to pass away, but the sequels for this, don't even bother. This one's the one to watch, and I can't say enough good things about The Crow. It's really good. 7 out of 10 on this one. Another one is kind of a rare one. You don't see The Crush often, but this is an Alicia Silverstone movie. Really cool. She did a great job along with, I can't remember his name. It is Kari Elwes, something like that. This was a really cool movie, guys. It's one of those ones that you just watch. It's almost like a TV movie, but it was done really well, and I really appreciated it. It was great. 7 out of 10. The Cube. I do have part 2 on DVD, but they didn't release it on Blu-ray, so I don't have it on Blu-ray. But the first one is actually a little bit better anyway. This one was really a nice twist on, a horror slash thriller, I would say. It was done well, guys. This was one that that you don't see often in the horror genre, that was just really well thought out. It's one of those smart ones. I really appreciate this movie quite a bit, and I've watched it countless times. I give this an 8 out of 10. The Craft is next, and I just barely watched this recently, actually, again. I hadn't seen it in a while, but I decided to watch it again, and it was good. It was really a lot of fun. I love Fairuza Balk. She used to play Dorothy in Return to Oz, which was one of my favorite kids' movies of all time. But anyway, it's quite a bit different than that, and it's based around witches. That's what it's all about. It's pretty good. I mean, it's not amazing. It's not one of the monumental movies out there, but it's still great. I'd give this a 6.5 out of 10. Next is Crimson Tide. This is a classic with Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington is a great actor. I love him. So is Hackman. So together they did a great job in this one, kind of as enemy and friend. So really, really well done. Underwater submarine adventure. Really, really, I can't say enough good things about it. I just love Crimson Tide. It's just so good. Loved it. 7.5 out of 10 on that one. Cruel Intentions. This is, of course, not for the faint of heart. If you are offended easily, do not watch this. There's a lot of sexual dialogue and talk in this one, and some nudity as well. But really good. Ryan Phillippe, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Reese Witherspoon are in this one. And I just love the way the dialogue in this one was really cool. The story was kind of messed up, but definitely worth seeing. All the acting was superb. It was really well done. Like I said, Cruel Intentions, not for the faint of heart. I give this a 7 out of 10. Next is Dances with Wolves with Kevin Costner, winner of 7 Academy Awards, of course. Yeah, I can see parts of that, parts of the reasons for that. I loved the scenery was awesome. The acting was really good. Just a pretty well done movie as a whole. I don't love it, but it's definitely one you have to have in your collection. I give this one a 6.5 out of 10. The Dark Crystal, Jim Henson's masterpiece right here. This was really well done, guys. For the 80s, it was a really cool Muppet movie. I just loved it. It was a dark Muppet movie. That's all it was, but it was just really done well. And it's believable. It wasn't, it looks fake, but it doesn't look fake. It's almost surreal. Really cool movie, guys. Definitely check this out. Good for the family, even if you want to watch it with them. All around well done. I give this a 6.5 out of 10. Dark Shadows with Johnny Depp. This is a Tim Burton film as well. I really liked this one. I watched it a few times just to make sure, and it was good. It was really good. Definitely entertaining, funny. Had those horror aspects. If you like that, then you'll like this movie. For comedy and for horror, it's definitely a good pickup. I give this a 7 out of 10. Next is Daybreakers, which doesn't get talked about much. It kind of flies under the radar for some people. But Ethan Hawke is one of my favorite actors, and he is in that. This one's about vampires. Let's just lay it out on the table. It's about vampires, and it's really good. It's definitely worth seeing, and you should pick it up if you have a chance, especially since it's a little hard to find. If you happen to see this, grab it. Good movie, guys. I recommend it. It's a 6.5 out of 10 on that one. Days of Thunder is with Cruise, of course. This is a Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson movie about race car driving, basically. Nicole Kidman stars in this one with her ex-husband, Tom Cruise. And yeah, it was fun. It was a fun movie. If you like racing, if you like cars at all, and just the macho man thing, that you'll like this movie. I give it a 6 out of 10. I wasn't a huge fan, but it was a fun watch. Dead Poets Society. This one is fantastic. Robin Williams was such a smart guy and such a funny guy, and he really pulled this off as a teacher in this movie. It was just so good, guys. Definitely worth seeing. Definitely worth having in your collection. It's a family movie for the most part, I would say. So pick it up if you want to see a good, college drama, basically is what this is. I would give this one a 7 out of 10. Deja Vu with Denzel Washington. Good movie. It's a Jerry Bruckheimer movie as well. A lot of, high intensity action going on with this one. A couple spots where you got to kind of mull through the slow spots, but not too bad. And kept you fairly interested, I think, most of the time. It was a decent movie. It was good. I give this a 6.5 out of 10. Got a triple threat here with Seven, Insomnia, and The Devil's Advocate. All right, I bought it for The Devil's Advocate. I'm going to be honest right now. However, Seven was a close second because I loved Seven. It was fantastic. Insomnia, I'm going to be honest with you, I've never seen this movie at all. But it's a Christopher Nolan movie, so I'm going to watch it real soon and see how it is. So I'm not going to rate that one. But Seven was fantastic. I'm going to actually give it a 7 out of 10. I think it was done really well. A little bit slow and maybe a little bit gratuitous in some scenes, but it was good. Seven was good. It's a 7. Devil's Advocate, though, however, I loved this movie. Fantastic. This is the unrated director's cut as well. I give this a 9 out of 10. I loved this movie. It was just so good. So evil, so dark. Acting was superb. Keanu Reeves and Pacino were just on point. It was awesome, guys. Devil's Advocate, if you're getting offended easily by, demonic, dark movies, don't watch it. Otherwise, if you don't mind R and dark and demonic stuff, you're good. So definitely worth a view. Devil's Advocate. If you happen to pick it up with Seven at the same time, I highly recommend it. Next is Demolition Man Over the Top and Tango and Cash. I got it for Demolition Man and actually for Over the Top also. I love those two movies. Tango and Cash I did watch and did not like it too much. I give it about a 5 out of 10. Over the Top I give probably a 6.5 out of 10, and then Demolition Man gets an 8 out of 10. It was the reason I bought this set here. But all three, not the third one's not my favorite movie, but these two are great, guys. Definitely worth a watch if you get a chance to watch those old Stallone movies. Next is El Mariachi along with the Desperado set. Double feature, of course. The reason I bought this was for Desperado. El Mariachi I did watch, and I did not like it, I'll be honest. It just didn't have the intensity as Desperado did. So El Mariachi I will give a 4.5, not very good score, I know. And then Desperado, though, gets 7.5 out of 10. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna give that a straight 8 out of 10 because it was really well done. Loved Antonio Banderas in this one. Sorry guys, my battery cut out on me, so I'm going to go through these last movies with you. Divergent, really cool, unique science fiction movie I came across. I did like it. It reminded me of Maze Runner a little bit and Hunger Games. I give this a 7 out of 10. I really dug this one and think that everyone should watch this really fun movie. Next one is the sequel, which was Insurgent. Probably a 6.5 out of 10. I didn't like it as much. But still a fun series to watch thus far. The second one was decent. The last one, Allegiant, was a little bit better. I probably would give that a 7 out of 10 as well. However, I did like the first one a little better. But this is I think the third out of 4. I think there's supposed to be one more of these movies eventually. So I'm not sure if they're making that or what, but I think there's 4 books, so there should be another movie coming out as well, I believe. This one did kind of end on a note, though, where I thought it had some closure. So I'm not sure what they're going to do with this series. I guess we'll have to see. But like I said, 7 out of 10. And we'll be giving away a couple Blu-rays here pretty soon, probably in my next few videos. I'll give away a Blu-ray or 2 to people if they can answer some movie trivia I have for you. So next video, prepare for the first part of my giveaways. And if you watch part 2, that'll get you that. Thank you so much, guys, again for watching, and happy trails to you.